Okay, I'm just going to analyse a 10-minute game which I played yesterday. My opponent had beaten me a little before this, maybe 10 minutes before. I played another game in between and then we played again. I played much better this time. And I wanted to, two things. I wanted to look at practical play against better players, and I wanted to look at a particular line in the semislav because one of the coaches on Chess Bootcamp, a coach on Chess Bootcamp, by the way, a great organisation. Ben, the leader of the organisation, great bloke. But one of the other coaches, James, had mentioned a particular line in the semislav and how sometimes it was difficult for him. And I appreciate, after having had the difficulties with this line myself in this game, what he was saying. But find a practical solution, play a relatively good game. So he plays c4. We had played knight f3 before that and gone into a Catalan, and I made a beginner mistake. I don't want to go through that, really. So, yeah. If you play c4, if you play d4, I'm playing knight e6. I don't mind what you want to play. And now I play e6. I'm very happy to go into actually a semi-Slav structure if I play d5 and c6. And I play d5. He plays d4. And I play the springer, the knight first. I like these barman type structures. And now he plays c5. And this is the line that James had talked about, more specifically in the semi-Slav, not in these Catalan type structures. But I think the same kind of thing applies. Okay, so I'm not going to tolerate that pawn chain. I'm going to go to attack against it. And now, just play my knight back to attack the pawn. And he plays his knight to defend the pawn. You know, if he tries to defend the pawn with the queen, then I just come queen to d6 and I'm going to win it. So, obviously I'm going to attack that knight. I'm not going to let him have that knight there. And a castle. Yeah, you can see we're in a fairly even position here. Yeah, it's awkward having that pawn there. You know, it can take a great deal of time to kind of unpack the rest of my pieces. But I have a solid structure. I have little space, but I have a solid structure. And if he, for example, plays bishop to g2 and castle's short, which makes sense, then a5 and bishop to e6 is going to look good for me. Bishop to a6 and then bishop to b5 anyway, if I can get a pin on the knight, or chase the knight away is a good way to get an attack against that pawn. So I have practical chances here, and this is about practical play, particularly practical play against higher rated players. Yeah, he plays the bishop now, but I think really, well, you know, that I'm getting the knight there, and then the pawn on c6 is no longer defended, and I take it, which turns out to be the correct move. And now again, do I want to play pawn here? Change. Yeah, if I play the knight to e4, he takes, I take, he wins a pawn and gets defense on it, so I can't do that. So I have to play knight to e8. Oof, knight to e8. There is no mate. Really, again, I've put myself in a difficult backwards position where things have to be defended here. But he's going to struggle to defend all these pawns. That's the point. That practically I'm getting rid of this pawn soon enough. He defends it with the queen. Okay, so now I'm looking at playing b5, chasing the queen away, and picking up the c6 pawn. And this is exactly what happens. But it says it's not a good idea if he finds the right move. He doesn't find the right move. He plays with the knight. I think fine. Okay. He plays with the knight so that the pawn is pinned. But that's fine for me. I'm just going to pick up the pawn on c6, play the bishop to b7 and threaten the knight at the same time as I get development. Also, the pawn on e5 is now undefended, so he defends it. So now I'm threatening to take the pawn, take the knight on b5 because the rook is now defended. The pawn is no longer pinned. So he moves his knight away, but that's a practically bad decision because now I get a discovered attack anyway, and I can have a discovered attack and get back the pawn now. And that's what I do, and now we're in a position where we've got the same number of pawns, but maybe my pawn structure on the queen side is a little better. Maybe it's possible for me to force a passed pawn some way. Yeah, he's attacking the pawn on c2, and at the same time he's attacking the knight. So yeah, I'm going to have to give up the pawn. But then I'm going to have 1 and 5, 6 against his 4 and 2. So we're going to have 6 pawns each. Yeah, fair enough. So I think, okay, well, if you want to take... I've got to give up the pawn. How do I want to give up the pawn? If you want to take my knight, then I'll take your knight, and then you take the pawn. I think that's probably okay. And that's what he does. I think that was probably my best. And he doesn't take it back straight away. Maybe he wants to play queen to... I don't know. Oh, he wants to take with the queen, and then he's got a double threat on. He's got a battery on g7 with the queen and bishop. So I just want to get the pieces unpacked. And now I'm almost finished. It's move 18, and I'm almost finished with development. And yeah, this is to restrain the knight, of course, so that I can't come to b4, b5, maybe my best square at the minute. So I'm going to chase that bishop away, and now I'm looking at playing bishop to c6 and queen to d7, and finally completing development, and maybe dreaming of one day playing pawn to d5, e5. But for some reason I thought it was best to support things in this way first. Of course it isn't, because he gets to pin the knight or play the rook to c1, which I think are both good ideas, or pin the knight or come with an attack on the knight with the queen. So of course he sees that straight away, but okay, I unpin the knight, attack the bishop. There I thought that his best plan was probably to play a5. But then, had he played a5, then I've immediately got knight into b5. And yeah, it's a good square for the knight. It's a good outpost. He's going to have trouble chasing it away with the bishop. And if he does attack it with the bishop and take it, then we're opposite coloured bishops. And my bishop would be on a perfect square for stopping any kind of pawn play. And indeed, no surprises that something similar happens. So I just want to support the knight. And back to knight 8. But we can say that it's only one move until development's complete. Knight d6 and development is finally complete. Of course, I'm not going to play knight d6 now because he's just going to play bishop. So he takes, I'll take back. He plays to c1, of course, and I play queen to b7. I'm looking at playing rook to c8 and swapping off. And this is exactly what happens. I take with the bishop rather than the queen. I don't know. If we go back, taking with the queen was apparently better. Yeah, he's stopping me from playing knight to d6, so I'm still not getting to be finished with development. But I can support it with my queen, and he doesn't stop me. Can't stop me. And now I offer a queen trade. He doesn't accept immediately, but I force a queen trade. And now, sorry, if we just go back. So what I'm saying is, even if you get that terrible line in the semislav, which is difficult with the pawn push to c6, after 33 careful moves, one can complete development. That's not bad, is it? Seriously. In practical play, you have to do these things sometimes. You have to just. I remember a fantastic game that I'll maybe analyze it one day if I can find it. Fantastic game that Nimzovich played, where he took so long. I think it was move 32 to develop his queenside bishop in a similar structure. But eventually, when on his 32nd move, he played his queenside bishop. Then it won the game immediately. So, good things come to those who wait. And now I've got the possibility of going after the pawns on this side, but apparently wasn't the best idea, because he can stop it immediately and attack the pawn, which I'd thought of, but I thought, okay, well, I'm blocking up the structure now, and somehow I'm going to get rid of one of these bishops, preferably the dark square bishop. Fantastic square from a knight. Sorry, preferably light square bishops, as I've got a opposite colored bishops draw. Yeah, that's a fantastic square for the knight. The only way he's ever going to get rid of that knight is by taking it with the bishop, and then I get my opposite color bishops draw, which is what I'm really looking for. I really liked the move c6, bishop c6. Sorry, if I go back, I really like this move because if he pushes the pawn, then I take and I win the pawn, and if he pushes the pawn, then I get bishop to b5, and that's as solid as a rock structure. It holds nicely. So he plays the check to win a pawn here in compensation for that he's losing a pawn here. So I let him get that pawn, and now I attack his bishop and pawn at the same time. I get a pawn, and really his best choice here is to take the pawn. And you see that no, it says plus 0.2 to white. It's silly. This is a draw. So opposite coloured bishops draw, and my opponent had 46 seconds again. Against friendly players, I'm not playing for rating points here. Against friendly players, I don't like to win. I don't like to win on time, particularly in these drawn end games. These particularly opposite colour bishop ends games. They're the most irritating to lose on time. I'm not after irritating people. I'm just after enjoying myself with a game of check. Sometimes I think, okay, I'm going to win that one on time anyway. And I am a dirty flagger sometimes, but not always. And now, you see it goes to completely zeros because I can play bishop to b5, and there is no way this is ever going to happen. And you see his time, he's doing very well. My king is in the ideal spot, never going to need to move. And we play around with it. He's got 15 seconds. Yeah, I could have dirty flagged him, possibly. He might make it to 50 moves, but what's the point? We've had 2 good games. He won one because I made a mistake. This was a good fair fight. So at this point we agreed to a draw, even although he's only got 12 seconds to say, what I really want to say is sometimes that half point just isn't worth it. Just isn't worth it, that half point. If he moves the bishop now, by the way, I'll push the pawn, force off that swap, and then the bishop oscillates between these 2 squares and the king stays where it is. And he can never do anything by pushing the pawn and trying to make the pawn free, because when the bishop oscillates between these 2 squares, it's always covering b5 from d3. d3, b5, d3, b5 for the rest of eternity. Except after 50 moves it would be a draw, of course. Yeah, I just wanted to say something about practical play and particularly point out that that semislav line for James. Okay, thanks.